You want her to demonstrate a takedown? Coach Brent Larson scoffed, loud enough for everyone to hear. His voice dripped with mockery as he pointed at the janitor quietly mopping the edge of the mat. She probably doesn't even know which side of the mat is up. A ripple of laughter ran through the gym. Phones tilted toward the center. Some students smiled awkwardly, unsure whether to laugh or object. A few looked down at their feet. But Kiara Ellis didn't lift her head. She kept mopping slowly, the gray-blue uniform hanging loose on her thin frame. Her brown hands moved with quiet precision. Brent wasn't done. Maybe she can show us how to wax the floor after we're done showing her what real martial arts look like. Another round of chuckles. A few phones began recording. One student whispered, "Isn't that a little harsh?" but nobody spoke up. "Hey janitor." Brent called again, this time with a smirk. "You ever done anything besides clean up after real fighters? Come on, how about a demo? You show us a guard, I promise not to laugh." Still, Kiara said nothing. Her posture barely shifted, but her knuckles whitened around the mop. Her shoulders, narrow and curved inward from years of staying small, straightened by half an inch. Something in the air changed. Students didn't know why, but their breath caught. Because in that moment, though she didn't speak, Kiara Ellis remembered something. Not pain. Not fear. But a switch. A code. The exact muscle pattern required to neutralize a man twice her size. She wasn't just mopping mats. She had once taught warriors how to survive them. Brent grinned and strutted toward the center of the room like he was walking onto a stage. "Let's make this fun," he announced, waving his hand like a ringmaster. "We'll call it How Not to Fight, a Janitor's Guide." Some students laughed uneasily. Others exchanged glances. A girl near the corner bit her lip, clearly uncomfortable. Marcus, a junior student, whispered, "This is gonna go bad." Brent clapped. "Come on, folks. Let's give the cleaning crew a chance at glory. Let's see what she's got." Kiara put the mop back in the bucket. Her movements were deliberate. She stepped forward, not with aggression, but with clarity. Each step left the air behind her heavier. "I'm just doing my job," she said quietly. "So am I," Brent snapped back. Teaching people the difference between serious training and amateurs. A few phones were now clearly filming. One student whispered, "Are we really doing this?" 15 years ago, Kiara Ellis stood on a different mat in a hangar in Kandahar. She wore a different uniform and carried the responsibility of teaching combat techniques to men and women who might never come home. Back then, she taught balance, breath, and speed. Today, she was being used as comic relief. She exhaled slowly. "One round," she said. "Then you apologize to every person in this room." Brent smirked. "Oh, you'll be the one apologizing." Kiara Ellis stepped over the tape line. And the mat remembered her. Brent assumed a classic fighter stance, feet shoulder-width apart, hands poised, posture flawless. He looked around at the students like he was about to deliver a masterclass. Kiara stood relaxed, her arms low, no stance at all. She didn't flinch. Didn't blink. Brent lunged first. A jab to test her reflexes. She didn't counter. She moved. The jab sliced through air. She slid sideways like smoke, rotating just enough to make him miss. He pivoted with a hook, more aggressive. She ducked, low and quick. Then, one movement, she swept his momentum from underneath. Brent landed hard. The students gasped. A few phones shook. He scrambled up, brushing off the mat. "Lucky shot," he muttered. "Again," Kiara said. He rushed. Right hook. Left jab. Quick combo. But she wasn't there. Her hands guided his force without impact. She moved like she was dancing with gravity itself. Brent stumbled forward. She stepped behind and placed her open palm on his back. She didn't shove. She let his own weight take him down. His body collapsed like a folding chair. He stayed down. The silence that followed was louder than the falls. No one moved. No one laughed. Phones were still recording, but not for fun now. For proof. Because something sacred had just been broken. And something older, respected, had returned. The gym doors swung open. Coach Reagan entered, suit slightly wrinkled, tie loosened. He looked confused at first, until he saw Brent sprawled on the mat and Kiara standing over him, unmoved. "What happened here?" he asked. One of the students held up a phone. She didn't even hit him. She just moved. Reagan's eyes narrowed. He walked to the front desk, pulled a clipboard, flipped through a file. "Kiara Ellis," he said aloud. Former military combatives instructor. Taught close quarters at Fort Bragg. Multiple deployments. Trained special forces. Offered a training job here 3 years ago. Declined. The silence deepened. Brent sat up slowly, disoriented. "She's, what?" Kiara didn't answer. Reagan looked at Brent. "You challenged someone who taught battlefield survival. You embarrassed yourself." Brent's eyes darted to the cameras still recording. "I didn't know," he said. "And that's the problem," Reagan replied. "You don't ask. You assume." Kiara adjusted her sleeve, still calm. "You wanted a demonstration," she said. "You got one." The students didn't cheer. They didn't clap. But they watched her like she was something ancient and rare. Because she was. Kiara walked back to the mop bucket. Not in shame. In dignity. Brent remained seated on the mat, rubbing his arm, staring at the woman who had just undone his ego in 2 quiet movements. One student finally spoke. "Why didn't she tell us who she was?" Marcus, still holding his phone, said, "Because then it wouldn't have been a lesson." Brent stood. "I owe you an apology," he said, voice low. Kiara paused but didn't turn around. "I'm not the one you owe," she said. "Start with them." She gestured at the students. "Then ask yourself why you needed credentials to respect me." Reagan nodded in approval. "Ms. Ellis, if you ever change your mind about teaching, the offer still stands." She looked back just once. "Maybe. But only if we start with humility." Then she left the mat. But something stayed behind. Not silence. A new standard. She didn't ask for applause. She didn't need revenge. What Kiara Ellis did was remind everyone that real strength isn't loud, it's steady. In a world where people are often judged by uniforms and silence mistaken for weakness, her presence said everything. If you've ever been underestimated, overlooked, or quietly powerful, this story is for you. Share it. Leave a comment. And subscribe to join a community that believes dignity always finds its voice.